Online, saan man may Pilipino, sa buong bansa, sa buong mundo. Ito ang True FM sa 105.9. Dito tayo sa totoo. Simulcast sa True TV sa Signal Channel 19.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Mainit at makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa sports, kumpleto yan dito sa Power and Play. Mula sa mga paborito at naglalakihang atleta hanggang sa mga natatanging Pinoy sports figures na dapat nyong makilala. Ihahatid yan dito sa Power and Play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko. Para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at huwag magpatalo. Ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Amiga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing natin katropa. Sa kapwa ko Pilipino.
Power and Play is presented by Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Cherry Tigo, there's more to our cars. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo.
Halina't makinig, talakayin natin ang laro. Gusto mo, pag-usapan natin, ibida ang hilig ng bawat Pilipino na merong taglay na galing. Bangon na, Power and Play na, bangon na. Power and Play. Bangon na, Power and Play na, bangon na. Pilipinas tayo na, bangon na. Power and Play na, bangon na. Bangon na, bangon na. Power and Play na, bangon na.
Carlos Yulo with 2 gold medals. Power and Play.
Mga bagong hirang na bayani ng Philippine sports at mga naghahangad pa ng greatness sa kanilang career. Yan po ang ating pag-uusapan ngayong araw na ito sa inyong paboritong kasalo tuwing Sabado. Uy, bago na! Power and Play na! Kamusta po kayo lahat mga kapatid? Mukhang remote po kami ngayon at gusto lang po nating bumati sa lahat po ng mga suki at tagapakinig, mga fans at nanonood sa Power and Play tuwing Sabado. Ito po sa radyo, or rather sa 105.9 True FM, sa 1PH on Signal TV, of course sa Facebook Live, at ang ating replay broadcast sa RP TV. Ako po si Noli Iyala na magso-solo flight ngayong araw po, ngayong linggong ito, sapagkat ang ating partner ay na si Jera Season ay medyo indisposed, kaya sana po'y naririyan kayo para samahan kami dito sa 2 oras na ating pagtalakay sa mga mahalaga at nakakatuwang storya sa mundo ng palakasan. Well, this week or last week mga kapatid, nakita po natin ang mga problema ika nga na natamo ng ating national team sa basketball, ang Gilas Pilipinas. Napag-usapan na po natin yung first 4 games nila kung saan isang panalo, 3 talo ang nangyari sa atin. Pero hindi po natin kagad na pag-usapan yung pagkatalo sa New Zealand na naging exclamation point po ng paghahanda ng Gilas Pilipinas patungo sa FIBA Asia Cup. Yes, qualified na po tayo sa FIBA Asia Cup, pero gusto natin magkaroon ng momentum. Mukhang hindi po natin nakuha dahil sa mga laro na maraming pumuna na medyo may problema daw ang Gilas. Ako again, sana po wag natin masyadong damdamin sapagkat ito po ay paghahanda pa lamang. Ang ating pong isipin ay ang magiging yung pagtahak sa mas mabigat na mga laban sa FIBA Asia Cup. And I'm sure Coach Tim Cone will be making the proper adjustments. Of course, marami pa pong ibang mga balita katulad na rin po ng napabalitang pagbebenta ng Terrafirma Jeep na kanilang franchise sa PBA sa isang kumpanya na nagngangalang Star Horse Shipping Lines Inc., isang domestic shipping company na ngayon po ay nagbabalak pumasok sa PBA. Ito po ay pag-uusapan natin ng mas mahaba at mas malalim sa mga susunod pa po nating mga araw. Pero ito lang po ang aking magiging take dito mga kapatid. Bago natin pupuntahan ang iba pa nating mga storya. Sana po ay ang PBA natuto na sa kanilang karanasan sa Terrafirma kung saan mukhang hindi naging masusi ang paghimay kung talagang lalaban itong koponan na to. Marami po tayong naranasan, nakita na mga nangyari sa Terrafirma na hindi magandang senyales para sa isang koponan. Patulad ng pagtitrade ng kanilang mga magagaling na player o di kaya pagbibigay ng kanilang mga picks sa mga mas malalakas na mga koponan. Again, hindi po natin pinupulaan ang kumpanya. Ang ating pong pinupuna dito, ang proseso sa pag-approve ng isang franchise applicant. Ito bang Star Horse Shipping Lines ay may kakayahan? Hindi po para maging successful na kumpanya. Hindi po. Yan ay isang solid na domestic shipping line. Ang kakayahan pong maglaan ng resources sa isang professional basketball team na ang nakatakda ay 50 million na salary cap every year. So, again, meron po tayong mga numero na nakuha tungkol dito sa Star Horse Shipping Lines. At kung ating pong hihimayin yan, medyo meron pong agam-agam sa akin na doon po sa kanilang kakayahang mag-google ng malaking sumabay sa mga malaking kumpanya para po bumuo ng isang magaling na basketball team. But again, hindi po natin hinuhusgahan sila. Ang akin lang po sana, ito po'y pag-aralan mabuti ng PBA para maging productive naman ang pagpasok ng isang bagong koponan sa PBA. Alright. Well, marami pa po tayong mga bisita mamaya. Ang ating pong pag-uusapan mamaya, ang patuloy na pagtahak sa landas ng pagiging alamat ni EJ Obiena. Ating pong nakausap siya kamakailan at ating pong kinamusta ang kanyang kampanya ngayon sa indoor season ng pole vault. Mamaya rin po sa second hour, ating makakausap ang kauna-unahang Pilipina na naging Muay Thai champion natin at ngayon lumalaban sa professional world of mixed martial arts. Si Islay Bumagao na ngayon ay undefeated sa One Championship. Abangan nyo po yan sa ating In the Spotlight. But ngayon po, bago ang lahat, siyempre himayin po natin ang mga storya pagdating sa mundo ng basketball sa Pilipinas sa What's the Score? O yan, kasama na po natin ang inyong paboritong si Quinito Henson. Quinito, thank you for joining us today. Ang dami nangyayari sa mundo ng palakasan, but of course, ang gusto natin pag-usapan muna ay ang nangyayari sa ating basketball na alam naman natin ang kinagigiliwan ng ating mga fans. So, before I touch on the PBA semifinals, Quinito, pinag-uusapan of course pa rin ang Gilas Pilipinas, no? About the road trip na ginawa ng Gilas, including the windows that happened in Taipei and of course in New Zealand. So, we dropped 4 games there. Natalo tayo ng huling 2 laban natin sa window. Even our rankings or yung mga tinatawag nilang power rankings, bumaksak tayo from number 5 to number 10 according to FIBA. What's your assessment unang-una, Quinito, on the play ng Gilas Pilipinas?
Well, first of all, talagang kulang tayo sa preparasyon. And mukhang pinilit natin yung Doha trip, no? Because that took a lot out of our players because of the travel time, tapos different time zone, tapos babalik sa Maynila, pupunta sa Taipei, babalik na naman sa Maynila, tapos pupunta sa New Zealand. The only way to describe that kind of a trip is grueling. And it takes a lot of your players, especially since you're dealing with a lineup that is not complete. Wala nga si Kai Soto. But be that as it may, and Japet Aguilar, by the way, missed the Doha competition and came on only in the second game of the FIBA qualifiers, yung game against New Zealand. But as I mentioned, it is what it is. We had already qualified for the FIBA Asia Cup. I thought Coach Tim Cohn wanted to find out how much he could extend these players, test their limits, and find out how they'll do against tough opposition. Remember, in Doha, the Gilas team played back to back to back. That's 3 straight games in 3 straight days. Kanya medyo mahirap yung nangyari doon. Tapos, Coach Tim also played a very short rotation against Chinese Taipei. He only played 9 players and a lot of minutes given to Brownlee, tsaka si Thompson. So it's very difficult for you to be able to get that kind of a rotation. He extended his rotation more in the game against New Zealand, but I thought it was more like a practice game for Gilas. But looking forward to the FIBA Asia Cup. First of all, we're coming off 4 straight losses by an average margin of 19 points. A lot of things that we can learn from that experience. I guess maybe we shouldn't gamble on a long overseas trip for a pocket tournament that's outside of our time zone next time out.
Also, ito, kasi alam naman ng mga fans, we were coming off a wonderful run in 2024, including winning the Asian Games gold medal. Was this a setback for the program sa tingin mo, Quinito? And what, as you mentioned, siguro maging maingat tayo sa pagtanggap ng mga pocket tournaments. But other than that, what do you think should be done? Lalong-lalo na yung mga suggestion na magdagdag ng players sa pool.
Well, first of all, to be realistic, yes, this was a setback because you will want to have momentum, the momentum of winning games going to the FIBA Asia Cup. Now we don't have that momentum because we're coming off 4 straight losses. But in looking how to prepare for the FIBA Asia Cup, that'll be on August 5 to 17, we also have to check how much time is left for us to be able to prepare. Now, I was looking at the schedule of the Philippine Cup, which is the 3rd conference of the PBA season. Assuming the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals of the Philippine Cup all go the distance, matatapos tayo July 27. Wow. That leaves us 9 days to prepare for the first game of the FIBA Asia Cup on August 5. You have to factor in the travel time because Gilas will still fly over to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So how much time is left? Usually Coach Tim Cohn will allow a 1-day rest after the last day or playing day of the conference. So you take out 1 game or 1 day, tapos you take out a couple of days for the travel time. You're left with about maybe 6 days of practice time. Given the circumstances, baka hindi na magdagdag ng maraming players si Coach Tim Cohn. I've spoken with him and he says as much as possible he'd like the pool to be intact. But he's always open. He said he's always open to possible changes. I'm thinking what we learned from the experience in Doha and the 2 games in the FIBA qualifiers 3rd window is that I think we need a big guard, a big point guard. And I think we also need a good shooter. So maybe if we bring in 2 guys who can take over some slots of players who are not really being used. Baka naman pwede, no? But familiarity will always be a problem. So you're thinking, maybe you should get someone like a Jordan Heading kasi he has already played for Gilas. He's a big guard. I think he's a good defender, but he's also a lights-out shooter. Yun ang kailangan natin because doon tayo nagkukulang. We don't have really reliable outside or 3-point shooters. As far as other shooters are concerned, I'm thinking someone who can pass, who can rebound, who can shoot from the outside. Arvin Tolentino fits the bill. Except that, Arvin has not been playing too well in the PBA semifinals. But entering the semifinals, he was averaging 23 points. A good passer, a good rebounder. But you question also his ability to play against physical defense. Like, you're going to expect that in the FIBA Asia Cup. They're going to defend him physically. But I think if he's able to play some minutes, some quality minutes off the bench, I think Arvin Tolentino might be a good fit. Now, who do you take out? I think maybe Mason Amos might be able or would probably be better advised to focus on Lasal. You know, he's a collegiate player. He's going up against these big-time players, and he may not be too tuned in to this kind of competition. At least not yet. Not for a competition like FIBA Asia
para
Cup.
sa kanya. Marami pang panahon para sa kanya, Quinito.
Yeah, I think so. There will be a lot more time. The other guys, I don't know. I think we're good as far as the front line is concerned. I think Jamie Malonzo has been playing well in the semifinals. He's averaging in double figures, so he will contribute. He didn't contribute in the last, hardly contributed in the last FIBA window, but I think Jamie Malonzo will be able to contribute. I think Japet Aguilar, with the way he played against New Zealand, remember he scored about 6 points in that game, and he came off the bench and he showed really toughness. And parang nakikita ko, no, this Gilas experience really gives you confidence in the PBA because nakita natin ang ginawa ni Japet Aguilar in the first game, rather in the second game of the PBA semifinals. He exploded for 31 points. And he's getting that energy from his experience with Gilas. Well, natandaan ko si Coach Tim Cone, meron siyang suggestion dati, no, that even if there is no imminent or upcoming FIBA competition or international competition, he wanted to get his core of players to practice every Monday. For the familiarity, even during the season of the PBA. Anyway, Monday is a non-playing day for the PBA.
Correct.
And if he does that, and if the SBP and the PBA agree to have that kind of a system, maybe he can bring in Jordan Heading, maybe he can bring in Arvin Tolentino. Remember, Arvin played for the Asian Games.
Quinito, you're talking about Arvin and the semifinals. Obviously, a lot of these players in Ginebra naglalaro sa Gilas, but it didn't bother them in game 1. And now they have a 2-0 lead kontra sa number 1 team ng PBA. No? And let's go to the semifinals. This first matchup, Ginebra against Northport. Now it's a 2-0 lead and it hasn't been close, Quinito. So let me ask you first, what's going on with Northport? Is this the end of Northport, Quinito?
Well, the way things are going, they need a dramatic change of attitude and approach. I think it's too early for Northport, both in the games 1 and 2. It was too early for them to give up. By the second quarter, their heads are already bent low.
Wala na.
Parang they feel that they're not able to compete against a team like Barangay Ginebra. But remember, Northport was number 1 in our league, so they are able to compete very well against the top-tier teams. But, I think they were not prepared to play against a team that plays such a tough defense. And not only that, their lack of defense is showing. So on both ends, Barangay Ginebra is not really known to be a high-scoring team. It's more of a defensive team. In fact, I was cranking out some figures that game number 2 of the PBA semifinals. They were in their 10 wins. Barangay Ginebra gave up only an average of 87 points, and so they've been winning on defense. But in this series against Northport, they're averaging over 111 or 110 points a game, which means to say they're really going crazy on offense. And it's not because they're offense-oriented. It's because Northport isn't playing the kind of defense that you expect from a number 1 team. Barangay Ginebra, when they go off on a fast break, there's hardly any defense, any transition defense. So they're breaking away. They're scoring easy layups. Their 3-point shots are uncontested. And, at the same time, Northport doesn't really have, I think, the familiarity or the experience of having to cut off those passing lanes. Remember, Noli, in game number 1, 36 assists for Barangay Ginebra. Not only that, in game number 2, they repeated it. So parang walang adjustment. I mean, if you already got hit with 36 assists in game number 1, dapat siguro sa game number 2, mapapag-aralan mo na. Dapat hindi mangyari ulit yung 36 assists. Nangyari ulit eh.
And they were out-assisting Northport by 14 in game number 2. 36 to 22, out-rebounding their ground.
It's just tremendous. So, the lack of defense on the part of Northport, and the ease with which Barangay Ginebra has found it to score baskets against a team that doesn't play defense. And
Ano
you
kaya
know,
to,
in this series, you've got to play defense to win.
you know, again, naunahan kaya ito ng reputation, ng takot, o masyadong ika nga na pressure with their number 1 ranking on Northport, Quinito?
Well, I think it's a young team. Northport has a lot of young players. Their starting point guard is Evanelli, who's a rookie. So there's a lot of pressure on everyone. And, you know, I just have a feeling that this team, being the number 1 team, entering the semifinals, parang they were just happy. They were just so content to be in the semifinals, to be in the Final Four. But now they're facing a different level of competition. They really have to go up a notch in terms of the playing ability and their quality of play. Granted that they did very well in the eliminations and, you know, especially in the quarterfinals, they just needed 1 game to polish off Magnolia. But now it's a different Ginebra team that they're facing.
Oh.
Again, it's the lack of defense of Northport. And that takes a lot of discipline, that takes attitude and approach. And they just need to understand that those shots that they were taking, because they were a high-scoring team in the eliminations, may not be there in the semifinals because ibang level na ang depensa na pinapakita ng mga kalaban, especially if you're up against Barangay Ginebra and the crowd. And Northport, I think, is feeling that pressure.
Saka iba talaga pag malahabang series, napapag-aralan ka na mas mabuti, and of course, ang mga referee, pinapayagan din ng mas physical ang mga laro, and obviously, they're letting the players play. Again, 5 players in double digits nung game 1, 6 in game 2. Ginebra's just outscoring Northport right now. And, you know, one guy, and before I leave this series, is Troy Rosario, Quinito. He is a guy that has come into Ginebra as a free agent, and ang laki ng tulong niya so far para kay Coach Tim Con. You know, what does he bring beyond the, you know, scoring para sa Ginebra in this series, Quinito?
Well, toughness underneath the boards. With Troy Rosario, you can expect him to help out underneath, to get those rebounds, to help out in intimidating paint shots of Northport. And, you know, he's a tough matchup because this guy can play power forward. He can sometimes play center, although he won't play center for Barangay Ginebra. He can play the 3 as well because he's a stretch player. So, you know, he gives a lot of things for Barangay Ginebra. But, you know, what Ginebra did dito sa ating conference is, I think, a good lesson para sa lahat ng mga PBA teams. You cannot afford to stay stagnant. You have to be dynamic in your roster. So, Coach Tim is a guy who is flexible, who will be open to changes. And I think if that's the kind of approach that he has with Gilas, I think we might even see some changes for Gilas in the coming months.
Obviously, those are good signs, a good foreboding of what may happen dun sa side naman na yun. But let's go to the other series, Quinito. It's 2-0 as well para sa TNT Tropang Giga kontra sa Rain or Shine Elasto Painters in a series that is night and day with Ginebra. This is a close one. You know, in the first game, 4 points difference. In game 2, 2 lamang. And parang perdigana, walang makascore nung huli. Kaya lamang nasilwerte at malaki ang lamang ng TNT bago nagkawindang-windang yung kanilang offense. But again, Quinito, what has been the key to this series so far?
Well, defense, very clearly. I covered game number 1, and in the last 4 possessions ng Rain or Shine, and the lead was only 3 at that point, believe it or not, Rain or Shine did not even make a single attempt. The last 4 possessions, 4 straight turnovers, they did not make a single attempt. Tapos, well, end of the game, nakapuntos pa ng si RR Pagoy with a free throw, so it extended to a 4-point lead at the end. But, you know, the toughness of the defense of TNT, that's gonna carry this team, I feel, to the finals. Remember in game number 1, RHJ did not even score in the first quarter. And he struggled offensively, but he did his share in intimidating, getting the rebounds, his hustle plays. He also played no relief. He played without a single relief. And you know, that kind of commitment from your import, that rubs off. Pag nakikita ng mga local teammates na ang import nagpapakamatay, sila din magpapakamatay. But if your import like Kadim Jack hangs his head and parang showing that wala, hindi ko kaya ito Ginebra. Talagang masama ng templada. I think they just need a reawakening. Northport, they've got to believe in themselves. They've got to think, wait, we're the number one team. Dapat naman makakuha tayo ng one win sa series na to. If they get that one win in game number 3, who knows? It might lead to another win and then we'll have a tied series. But as far as the other series is concerned, Noli, yung rain or shine, they had a big chance to win game number 2. In fact, I thought game number 2 was theirs. Nag-foul out si RHJ with 5 minutes to go. And then Jason Castro got hurt with about maybe 2-3 minutes to go. Right. So a golden opportunity for rain or shine to get it done, but they just couldn't get the basket. Score. They had a run. They had a run at hindi na nakascore ang TNT, but TNT had such a big lead and they just held on to it in the end. But it's defense holding down rain or shine to 84 points in game number 1 and 91 points in game number 2. That means Coach Chot Reyes is really pounding and emphasizing the importance of playing tough defense in this series.
Are you expecting this still to go to be a long series in both, or are you already seeing na medyo tagilid na itong Northport, or even for that matter rain or shine?
Well, for Northport, I think it's going to be a short series. I think Northport will be lucky to get one win. Maybe they get one win, but I think they're going to lose this in 5. And Ginebra is just too good at this point. The way they're moving the ball, the way they're playing so comfortably and confidently, the way they're passing the ball to get an average of 36 assists in this series, that's mind-boggling. Not even in the NBA does a team get as many assists as that and get away with it. So, I think it's very difficult to suppress Barangay Ginebra at this point. As you mentioned, Noli, they won very comfortably game number 2 by 13 points. They could have won that actually by more than 20 with Justin Brownlee scoring 10 points. So, I think 5 games. I would give one game to Northport. On the other hand, yung TNT, rain or shine, I'm not conceding this thing yet. I think rain or shine is going to come back. And I think that this series is probably going to go 6, maybe even 7.
May mga balita din na lumabas tungkol sa PBA, of course, itong napitintong pagbibenta o paglilipat ng franchise ng Terrafirma Jeep sa isang applicant na PBA na ang Star Horse Shipping Lines. First of all, I want to just, we know kung ano nangyari sa Terrafirma in their 10, 11 years of being in the PBA. It is a team that never made it really to the semifinals even, a record that was very dismal, only 23% winning percentage in the PBA. But how do you think will Terrafirma be remembered, if at all, dito sa kanilang pagtungtong sa PBA?
In fairness to Terrafirma and also to their governor, Mr. Bobby Rosales, I know for a fact that over the last couple of years, Terrafirma has been looking for a buyer. But because of their loyalty to the PBA, they didn't want to fold up. They wanted to keep the membership intact at 12. They could have just said, well, hindi na kami maglalaro or hindi na namin kaya. But they stuck it out. They stuck it out for the fans. And until they finally found a buyer. And now that they have found a buyer, Mr. Rosales met with the team last Monday, very early. Terrafirma starts practice at 7 in the morning sa Gameville, sa Mandaluyong. Si Boss Bobby is a morning person. So he got there about 30 minutes ahead of everyone before the 7 o'clock meeting. And he told them, hey guys, this franchise has been sold. This is going to be my last conference. May not be the players' last conference, may not be the coach's last conference, but Mr. Rosales said, this is going to be my last conference, and then I'll be out completely. But he will be remembered as a longtime vice chairman of the PBA. He was also head of the special study group that was formed to look at free agency, the Filipino players who go overseas to play, and what happens if they want to come back. So all of those things, that was under the guidance and the wisdom of Boss Bobby Rosales. So I take my hat off to him. And still, the loyalty that he had in playing under very tough circumstances, in just sticking with a team just so that Terrafirma wouldn't fold up until they finally found a buyer. Let me tell you, they've been looking for a buyer for a couple of years until they finally found one.
That's a very interesting piece of news, and of course ngayon nakakita na sila ng interesadong buyer, and ang alam natin is ito yung naisubmit na sa PBA board for its approval as the PBA rules require. Quinito, have you heard about the status of this process? Meron na bang itinakdang meeting to approve this? Do you see any roadblocks, and what do you think the PBA is looking at this new buyer, from this new buyer?
Well, I think it's important for the PBA to establish that this buyer is committed to the PBA. And my understanding is any new franchise or any new owner of an existing franchise must have a commitment of 5 years.
That's right.
And so they are going to take a look at balance sheets. They're also going to take a look at some income statements for sure, because they have to do their due diligence. Is Star Horse the kind of company that can sustain a competitive and formidable PBA club? So that will have to undergo some kind of study. But my understanding is it's all systems go. My understanding is there has been an investigation, and it looks like Star Horse Shipping has gotten the go signal. I think this is a very well-funded organization that has a very profitable corporate operation. So I don't see any problem in getting the approval from the PBA board. So I'm getting it from Mr. Bobby Rosales, who said that this is almost a done deal. He has already told his players that this is going to be his last conference, and he's also taken a look at the players of Terrafirma and looked at the contracts. See, Luis Angalang's contract expires in December. Terence Romeo expires in August, and then Kimar Corino will expire in September. And the rookies, Katapusan and Mark Nonoy, their contracts will expire in 2026. A lot of the players, however, their contracts will be expiring in May. So it will be up to the new owners of the franchise to determine whether the players will stay or not. Players like Kevin Ferrer, for instance. So, and Aldrich Ramos. But, I'm sure that the new owners will put together a coaching staff that will look very carefully at the talent of the players at hand. And I'm sure they're also going to be looking at the coming draft and who will be available for them and who might be able to fit their scheme of things. Rich Alvarez, by the way, is part of their coaching staff. So I've spoken with the team manager of Terrafirma, Ronald Tubid, and he says he knows Rich, and he doesn't know whether this will be his last conference as well as the coaching staff, Raymond Tionco. But whatever happens, he says they're going to give it their best. They're going to go all out in this last conference and be remembered as a team, as a fighting team in their farewell conference. And they want to do this for boss Bobby Rosales.
Sana nga umangat sila kahit paano sa All Filipino. And it's a little bit weird, strange. Dahil syempre, alam nila kung matutuloy man ang bentahan, wala na yung lumang team at may papasok na bago. So parang tryout na rin para sa kanila, sa karamihan ng mga players na nabanggit mo Quinito, for the incoming.
Well, yun ang motivation nila. Magpakita sila so that makuha sila ng bagong owners.
I've always supported the fact that there are new teams because may dagdag na trabaho yan. But I really hope na itong Star Horse, kung ito man ang matuloy, talagang magiging competitive. Because again, it's not easy. It's not easy to be a team owner in the PBA, and certainly we're hoping that they can prove themselves in the next 5 years as they have.
Well, I hope so too, and I also hope that more of these quote-unquote independent teams become even more competitive. And
yes.
Right now in the semifinals, Northport at Rain or Shine, nakapasok sila. But I'd like to see Converge go far, and if it's true, if the rumor is true that Governor Delta Pineda will be the head coach. Wow, that's gonna be something. That's gonna be something. We know that he has the ability, but I also know that he can be a very good motivator for his team, and we've seen that with what he's done with the Pampanga Giant Lanterns in the MPBL.
Yan po ang ating usapan kay Quinito again na napakaraming sa susubaybayan sa basketball po at ating pong patuloy na ihimayin yan sa mga susunod na linggo. Alright, bago tayo mag-break, isa muna pong paalala mula sa ating mga kaibigan sa Smart. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete powered by Smart. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. The Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from Smart that lets you enjoy and discover your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Pro Prepaid, and TNT subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance, monitor your current subscription, top up using debit credit card, subscribe to the latest Giga promos, monitor your data consumption, auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live more today! Sa amin pong pagbabalik, ang ating pong makakasama, EJ Obiena sa Power and Play. At sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Kigo at ng Joyride.
I dare to dream big. To be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
February. Love is so true sa 105.9.
Pag in the mood for beach, time for Dunkin' Iced Spanish Latte.
Pag sweater weather, time for Dunkin' Brewed Coffee.
Pag nagkayaya ang magbike, time for Dunkin' Iced Americano.
Anytime is Dunkin' Coffee time. My hot and iced coffee for any moment, any vibe, anytime. Eh, ikaw? Time for Dunkin' Coffee, hot or iced.
Fuji Denso believes that appliances are long-term investments, so it is very important to choose wisely. And what could be a wiser choice than using reliable, durable, and energy-saving appliances from Fuji Denso? Just like families and companies trusting Fuji Denso, you will see the difference when you upgrade your usual appliances to Fuji Denso HD inverter appliances.
dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
True FM sa 105.9. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Na imbag nga bigat kada kayo amin sa lahat po ng ating mga kapatid dyan sa San Esteban, Ilocos Sur, of course sa Vigan, Ilocos Sur, and sa Baguio City. Kinakamusta po natin kayong lahat. Kinakamusta rin po natin, of course, sa mga kasama natin sa Los Baños, Laguna. Kamusta po kayong lahat? Sana'y nag-enjoy kayo ng inyong Saturday weekend viewing ng Power and Play. Alright, bago natin po ipasok ang ating susunod na guest, syempre, patuloy po ang pamimigay ng Joyride Super App ng premyo o mga gantimpala po dito sa ating mga viewers ng Power and Play. Ito po ang ating Joyride Top Up promo kung saan mananalo kayo ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credit. Simple lamang, para sumali, download the latest version of the Joyride Super App. Take a screenshot o kuhanan ng screenshot ng app's home screen. Ipadala po yung screenshot sa PNP FB page via private message. Isama niyo po ang inyong buong pangalan, registered mobile number sa inyong Joyride account, at may chance na po kayo manalo ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits para sa 5 lucky winners na magagamit niyo po sa Joyride Delivery, Joyride MC Taxi, Joyride Taxi Cab, Joyride Car, at Joyride Super Taxi. Mula po sa Joyride Super App. Alright, at this point, mga kapatid, ipapasok na po natin ang ating susunod na guest. Well, he is, of course, no stranger to no one because he is the greatest pole vaulter of Asia at ngayon world number 4 pagdating sa pole vaulting, at siya po ay makakasama natin ngayon, no doubt the greatest Asian pole vaulter of all time. Walang iba kundi si EJ Obiena. EJ, kamusta ka? Kamusta ka dyan? Mukhang malamig ah.
We're good po. So far, still kicking, still alive. Continuing the chase.
How did you spend your Valentine's? How did you spend your Valentine's muna?
Traveling. I was up at 4 a.m. I was up at 4 a.m. leaving.
So walang dates muna.
Wala po at that time. Fortunately, that needs to take a back seat when the season starts.
I'm sure your girlfriend is very, very understanding of what you're trying to do once again. And again, this is again the same routine. And it's so nice to see you back, particularly since that spine injury that you encountered. So let me just rewind a little bit on that spine injury. Are you fully recovered? And obviously you are, no, because you're now competing at a very high level. But what did it take for you to get to this level again after that spine injury, EJ?
I don't think I'm back just yet. If I'm being honest, I don't think nandun na po ako uli. Sasabihin, definitely the back is healthy. It's way better and but I need to find my rhythm again. I need to look for how things are different now, of course, like how my run, my technique, and try to push the limits again and see how far I could push it. It's still definitely medyo ano pa po. It's still not yet there, but when it comes to the back, it really is being mindful and put attention in the mobility, mostly mobility wise, and then understanding what triggers it and what really irritates it, what could have caused it, and of course having the right people around me to check and assess it, not just how I feel it, how do they feel around it, how do I look moving, and that definitely helps.
So you're saying, from the way you're talking, EJ, parang meron pa ring lingering concerns, despite the fact na, as you said, no, you are able to compete, you have been competing at a very high level, pero meron pa ring lingering concerns, and there is still a lot of, I guess, treatment and things that are being done to make sure that hindi maulit ito. Ganun ba yun, EJ?
Yeah, it's more, hindi naman po that there's still like issues or whatsoever. It's more like what caused it. So last year we didn't really exactly know what triggered it. We knew going in that I had back issues, I had back problem, and like it kind of developed into what it was at the latter part of the season. So it wasn't like I twisted an ankle, that's why my ankle is swollen. Like it wasn't like that. It was a gradual build up. Therefore, we're trying to avoid that, trying to understand what irritates it. So we figure out, okay, we could always trial and error, but it wouldn't hurt having better mobility than how it was before. That would alleviate the stress at a certain point. Then better movements as well, better technique, and like strengthening as well. Balance and all these things.
So, well, we certainly hope that you find the causes and para iba na rin yung I guess you're competing or you're training now, wala kang iniinda, wala kang iniisip, because that really gives you more confidence. Well, talking about that, no, walang mas maganda pang balita kaysa yung nagawa mo, of course, last year, particularly at the end of the year when you launched your pole vault pit in Lawag. And again, you mentioned this, and I quote, "This is one of my biggest dreams is coming true." Yun ang sinabi mo dun sa isang post mo about the launching of that pole vault pit in Lawag. Tell us about this project, and so far your assessment on nagiging effect nito sa, and I guess also meeting your objectives, EJ.
I mean, it's been an idea. It's been a project of mine. And to be honest, it went better than expected. So at first I wanted only one, and then I said, okay, our goal is to have it maybe one in Luzon, one in Visayas, and one in Mindanao, which is what I'm trying to fulfill now. Having the first one in Lawag, having to see the interest of the kids, especially the women's side of the sport as well. It's better than expected, I would say. And having, to be honest, Governor Matt has been very influential when it comes to allowing public or outside people to have access on the facility that they have there. Because like one of the things that I try to deal with, the LGUs, it's much more complex than what I initially thought. So donating a pit doesn't just mean putting the equipment here or there and be done with. I want it to be maximized to its full potential, taken care of course, so that it affects more kids, more lives, more athletes. At the same time, accessible dapat to everyone. So didn't realize that there's a lot of workings around government facilities being open or just generally open to the public, especially stadiums.
Right.
Understanding that in a picture perfect world, you'd want the track to be accessible to everyone, but it's just not reality, because there are equipments there. If everybody comes and go, that's I don't know how big of an area. You need security, you need maintenance that costs money, and renovating and having security. Of course, you don't want to also have kids getting injured, so you need to be able to control it to a certain degree. And like I didn't really perceive that, and this initial project of mine definitely opened my eyes, and like in a much bigger sense.
I even understand that you, syempre, in connection with the opening of the pit, you put up a clinic para nga maturuan and also to develop, discover pole vaulters, young and old. And I guess you already did. You have about 27, from what we heard, 27 new male and female athletes who are now going through the clinics. How much of you mismo are invested in the project of the clinics? Meaning, how much will they see EJ there and lend this expertise eventually? I know you're in season now, so malabo yan, but in the off season, how much of EJ can be committed to that project?
So me and my team definitely is working around. So the vision is mostly what I want to achieve is this. And my team, to be honest, is the one like having a hard time to like, okay, how do we get this to make it happen? And there, of course, I'm trying to help as much as I can. And so I said, like, we need to partner with a brand that has a reach that could host clinics and help us facilitate this. And I'm hoping that we could do it every quarter. And that's not like once a year, because we want it to be a progression. And of course, the kids who we initially train in the clinic, they're going to be better by the time 3 months from now. We want to make sure also the coach are equipped to train that. So it's not just a clinic, it's also a coaching seminar within the facility or the hub that we're setting up. How much involved I would be depends on how free my time is. As long as the priority is not me being there, the priority is making sure that they get the facility as early as possible, set up the clinic, set up the coaching seminar within the time frame. That's the the biggest target first. Then secondary is if it aligns with my schedule, of course I would love to be there and really get the kids. The problem po kasi, like, as much as we want to accommodate all the kids who are interested, there's still limitation. There's only one pit. So 27 is still probably ideally the best mix of both, of having the numbers and still having the quality of the clinic.
Well, which brings me to the question, EJ. You said that you wanted about 3 in certain areas. Are we going to be seeing this come to fruition soon? Talaga bang meron nang tumutulong para matuloy? I heard that you're planning in Tagum, in Davao, something like that.
Actually, as we speak, the pit is already in transit going to Tagum.
Talaga?
The clinic is gonna be in March. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be there physically, but everything's still gonna happen. Hopefully, the next clinic, the next series of clinics, I'll be able to visit Tagum and see the facility and see the kids. It's really is a small thing for me to really just make it accessible to kids. And what I always tell the LGU is, I hope like in the short time frame, I would hope I'll be able to see someone from your city represent the country in the Southeast Asian Games, Southeast Asian Youth Games. With that, just with that, that's already a win for me. That's already like whatever time was invested is more than it's good. Like it's time well spent, per se.
Right. Absolutely. Well, in this new indoor season, and every year that happens, around this time, anong goal mo this time, EJ? What do you want to focus and achieve this season?
Not rush things. My goal this season is to recuperate what I've lost last year, the sensibilities of my jump, the technique. It's not easy going into a competition last year where I needed to maximize what I had. That's a different approach in, okay, I want to have all of this and maximize it to the best of my ability. That's a different approach. Last year, I couldn't do that because of my back. So I needed to adapt. I lost some of the things, I couldn't run, I couldn't train as hard as possible. So it's a very different approach. Therefore, it's a totally different way of jumping. It's a totally different way of seeing the event. I don't want that. I don't want that to ever happen again. I don't want it to be even like something that would linger. So therefore, I want to be patient. I want to be appreciative of the things that I do, but at the same time, be aware that, hey, this is the end of season. We were not set to be ready by this time. Our goal is the outdoors. Therefore, it's hard. It's hard. I'm going to admit it's hard. It still is to see it that way. I still no, I need to be ready now. Like that's how athletes are. That's how I am, I guess. Dapat ready na ako, and I can do it. I should be able to do it.
In that sense, did you do anything different in the off season, in the preseason, so that you can really slow down, be more patient? Was there something else that you were doing that you did not do in the past?
I think I experiment more, to be honest. Like when it comes to competition, I try not to think about the heights. Of course, I am competing. I am aiming to win, but you're not aiming for just to jump high. You need to achieve that by doing the changes that needs to be done that is beneficial for you long term. You know, that's how I see it, and that's how I try to do it. It's difficult. Like I'm gonna be very honest. It's difficult because it's so easy to revert back and be on just okay now. It's now, but it's not the time to do it now. You know, yeah, it's quite complex, but yeah, I'm trying to be patient.
Yeah. In other words, it's like holding on to the reins. You know, as much as you want to let go of yourself, you've got to be patient also with the way your body is responding to what you want. In other words,
yeah, exactly. Yes.
basically, yeah. Well, you know, and it seems like in the start of this indoor season, your body is responding. In your first start, you finished second in Germany with a jump of 5.65 meters to open your indoor season, and then of course you had a title in Metz, France. You had another title in Poland, and of course some missed podium finishes. But so far, out of the 5 starts that you've had so far?
Yeah, five. Yeah,
five starts is 3 podium finishes, including 2 gold medals. I don't think that's really taking it slow. But you know, what are your early takeaways from these performances, EJ, so far?
I still have it. You know, I still have that competitive angst, and like I still have that aggressiveness. It's not gone, which is a good thing. That was something that I was low-key worried that I wouldn't have anymore. And the second thing is understanding that it doesn't mean that when you get the gold, you won it. Sometimes someone lost it, you know? And I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy. But like in Mets, I don't think I was supposed to win that per se, to say it, you know, brutally frank. I believe it was supposed to be Chris. And it just happened that, you know, he didn't perform the way he performed. I performed decently. I mean, putting it, this is like little details of perspective.
Right.
But the reason why I'm explaining is because I'm not exactly satisfied of my performances. It's not where I want to be.
Despite the medals, you're
despite
not
the medals,
satisfied.
exactly.
Okay. Right.
Torun might be the closest, I would say, like that I felt like myself again. Like what I mean by that, like I was able to get into the groove and really get the ball rolling to the right direction where I wanted to go. But like you said, it's still not very consistent because of all the changes that I'm trying to apply or reacquire per se. It's not second nature yet. So there are days where, like in Dusseldorf, I took the risk. It didn't pay off. Live-in, where I push everything, it's still not clicking.
Yeah.
But knowing that I'm doing what is necessary for me on that point in time, not to win now, but to be able to grow again and be able to be like creating this momentum come the day where I need to show it.
So, in other words, EJ, the goal is not so much the medals, but it's really to see how you are responding to what you want to do. In other words, it's just whether you make it to the podium or not, as long as you do what you want to do. That's the way
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, your ranking in the world is now number 4. Now it's a slight dip only because of what happened in the Olympics. But how do you personally view this development? Is this a setback or is this a challenge?
It is a challenge, definitely, because now I would say people are jumping good again. I think. I mean, not again, but like there's always new faces in the circuit, and now Emmanuel has jumped also 6 meters last year and just jumped 6 meters indoors as well. You know, it's a challenge for me to regain that where I was, and knowing the ways to get there definitely is going to be, it's not going to be easy for sure, but I'm still up for it. I'm still like, excited and still like why am I being patient? Is because I know this is the way for me to be there again and get the best chance out of it.
And you know, I want to ask you this question because obviously, you know, just as we are talking, you've talked about your community involvement, for instance, in the vault pit, in the clinics. No, you've talked about you know, just vaulting higher, whether you make it to the podium or not, and doing what you want to do. You've also talked about your medals. I mean that it's not that it's not important; it's still important for you. And now you've talked about your world ranking, that it is a challenge. So when you look at your career right now, what is the most important in all that you are trying to do? Is it, you know, the vault higher, the podium finishes, the world ranking, or this community development? Where do you put all of those things in your career right now?
That's a good question. I think I need to first, you know, really share what I wanted as a kid. Like, what was the goal? Like, what, you know, like I've said, I've been very thankful and really achieved more than what I thought I could do. It's always have been, but I think after every Olympics, there's a new sense of goal setting, I would say, perspective change, reinvention of what fuels you, what drives you. This is something I think now it's a much deeper sense of reason to continue vaulting. It's not just now, oh, I want to achieve this, this, and this. I've done everything in Asia. I've done everything in the world. I just don't have one thing, the Olympics. You know, now I needed to kind of get through all of that again. And realistically, the excitement is never going to be the same because it's always the first one's always going to be, you know, the most excited you're going to be. And this is where it comes in. Now, what is the reason for me continuing the sport, going through all these and like really aim for it and really mean it? This is why I want to connect it with community building and building the sport, and to be able to still show to the kids that are now going to be interested in the pole vault that, hey, we could do it. That's one. At the same time, I also want to be able to share to them, hopefully when time comes, that, hey, you know, it's not a one-time thing. It's a mind over matter. It's goal setting. It's really putting perspective into, you know, manipulating the perspective in the way that you see it the best possible for you to thrive. The situation might be bleak, the situation might be mundane, repetitive, but it's all a matter of perspective. If you see that as a repetitive thing, yeah, probably gonna be boring, probably gonna be not as motivating. But you see that as an opportunity for you to redo it in a better way. It's an opportunity for you to practice something that you love. It's a, you know, even just to say, okay, this is a challenge and how disciplined I could be.
Right.
You know,
and how patient.
Yeah, it's a totally different perspective and a totally different approach, and something that you would do in a different quality with a different mindset. And that's I think something I still continue to progress and really reinvent myself to the next 4 years, to be really, you know, give it the best that I could give. And that's something not something I could definitely just figure out in a snap of a finger or a few nights here and there. It's a process. It's an ever so growing pains per se.
And it's obviously, you know, even in the past, you've put together all of those pieces. Hanggang ngayon, you're still putting it together for the next 4 years, obviously, as we prepare for the LA Olympics. But yan po marami pa pong kayong maririnig mula sa ating pinagmamalaking si EJ Obiena. Diyan lang po kayo. Second part ng ating interview with the greatest Asian pole vaulter in just a short while dito po sa Power and Play, hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo at ng Joyride.
I dare to dream big, to be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day. Plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Totoo ba ang love mo? True Love tayo this February sa 105.9 True FM.
Prepare delightful dishes every time with Technogas Technique appliances. Experience excellent cooking results with Techno.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
To the right, to the right!
To the right of the FM band, True FM.
On 105.9.
Muli po nagbabalik ang Power and Play and abangan niyo po ang ating second part ng interview kay EJ Obiena. Napakarami pa pong kaming napag-usapan. Ha? Pero bago po yan, sumilip muna po tayo sa mga viral videos at pop culture sa mundo ng palakasan sa Stop and Pop. Ang title ng video natin ngayong linggong pong ito ay Moneyball. Aba, sige, panoorin po natin ito itong video na to. Wagi ng $25,000. Grabe, ang Houston Rockets fan na ito matapos maipukol ang full court shot. Katumbas yan ng higit 1.2 million pesos. Ang tira ni Kuya, pinabanking pa for the win. Kung kayo mapapasok nyo kaya yan para sa life-changing cash prize, yan ang ating Moneyball sa Stop and Pop. Alright, mga kapatid, ngayon ibalik po natin ang ating second part of our interview with one of the greatest athletes of the Philippines, si EJ Obiena. I want to ask you this, and I guess this is a question of, I guess, mortality and immortality. Alam naman natin that in certain generations, EJ, there are generational talents that come around, and there's some great talents that are there. Like in the era of Manny Pacquiao, ang dami magagaling na boksingero that never won a championship, a world title. Manny Pacquiao there. The same way with Tiger Woods. You know, Tiger was a generational icon that, you know, in that span of time, maybe a span of a decade, nobody could win a title because Tiger Woods was there. And the same thing with Jack Nicklaus and all the other greats, Muhammad Ali, etc., etc. Novak Djokovic, even Bjorn Borg for that matter. In your era, it is Duplantis. We know that. He is a generational talent. And, you know, people, he's like an immortal. And we are all mortals. Where do you put your mindset? Now that you're in 4 years from now, you know you're going to face him again. Where do you put yourself in that scheme of things where you know that there is an immortal amongst us and that you want to be able to, you have to beat him to reach your goal? Paano yan, EJ?
I think it's first a matter of perspective. If you first need to put yourself where he is. What I mean by that is, if you're close to a degree where you can challenge him, that's a different conversation to have. But right now, I don't think I'm within that realm. I need to be real with myself. I'm not in that spot right now. Doesn't mean I can't win. Like what I said, sometimes you win because you won it. Sometimes you get the gold because someone lost it. So it doesn't mean that, but for me, does it enable me to train better knowing that he exists or he's there? If it does, sure, you know, play it by ear. Whatever gets you through the line, gets you through the line. For me right now, I don't really think about him or any other guy. Like, I'm not in that space just yet. I'm just building. I'm creating this momentum that needs to be out there by the time summer comes. That's where I'm at right now. So
you're not daunting. It's not a daunting thing. That's nothing. Doesn't matter.
Because if we talk about numbers, if we talk about, okay, in the circuit, who has the most time, who has beaten Mondo? That's me and Chris. I think we're tied at two apiece. Everybody else has not beaten him. So if we're talking about who in the face of the earth right now has the best chance, it's going to be the two of us, because we've done it, and it's you know, it's a reality. We've done it. Like, it's not like impossible. But then does that really help me? It definitely did before, but that's what I'm saying. You need to be at a certain level. You need to be there at that point in time where it helps you. I'm not there. I need to be brutally frank with myself and, stand where I am right now. I'm not there. I need to build my steam and really create that ball rolling. Once I'm there, for sure, like go out there in every competition and really like be like like chasing the guy every meet and make sure that he jumps and make him vault one more bar and one more bar and one more bar until he fails. That's how you beat the guy. And I mean, he is a generational talent. And like you said, I wonder if Andy Murray, or you can say Del Porto, would
would have won more championships, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, like, would they regret living and competing with the greats of their sport? I don't know. I don't think they do. I would hope I wouldn't feel that way, because that means I'm happy that I am training at this time. I'm competing at this period where you have a Mondo Duplantis that pushes you. Like, it is what it is. It's true.
Yeah.
The level of pole vault has never been higher because of him.
Yeah.
It's not because of me.
And that really brings the best out of everyone.
Yes, and that's the beauty of having in the presence of like you said, someone who seems to be immortal.
Yeah. Well, ako personally, I've always said that in sports, nothing is impossible. I mean, that's why it's a sport. It is not an exact science. There are many factors that come to play in a particular sport, in a particular activity that can, just change the whole history of the sport. So, you never know. So, again, I laud you for being so realistic, but at the same time also undaunted by all of these, and undistracted by these challenges. And as a parting shot here is, now that we've seen where you are, what is the timeline? What is the timetable for EJ? What are you looking forward to this year in terms of competitions, EJ?
Speaking of Mondo, so he invited me to compete in his competition the 13th of March, if I'm not mistaken, in his hometown in Uppsala. That's something. It's always going to be the best of the best. I would say that's the most competitive pole vault competition out there this indoor season, I'm going to say. Maybe even more than the World Championship, because it's just so focused on the event itself. And he always gets the best of the best guys. So that's something I'm looking forward to. World Championship still is in the table for me. But being a non-European and being a country that doesn't really have an indoor season, I don't have the nationals, I don't have the European Championship to kind of gun for it. But if it happens, it happens. Like I said, building my steam. If it's another badge that we could get, I'll take it. It's not gonna be like,
and of course,
I want it. I'll take it for sure, but I wouldn't derail my path to just take this list that's not really on my path.
Yeah. Well, and of course, at a later date, at a later part of the year, it will be the Southeast Asian Games, and that should be something that every Filipino is looking forward to, of course. Well, if there's anything, EJ, papuntahin mo dito si Duplantis, baka matuloy na yung ano mo, that'll be fun, and I'm sure the Filipinos will be all out to support you, and let's see how he reacts to the fan following of EJ Obiena in Manila.
No, that is still up in the air. There's still a lot of things at the back. I was just like, today I was warming up. Like, if I'm being honest, like I said, like, we're at the golden age of Philippine sports, and there's so much greats right now. So much who has done amazing in their field. What I'm jealous of right now, seeing my fellow pole vaulters compete in their nationals, is that they're competing in their home soil. They're competing in their home country. And the support and the love and the backing that you get is different. Of course, it's different, and you feel different. Like I remember competing in the Southeast Asian Games back in 2019. That was a different kind of pressure, and like that, that is the thing that pushes you to the next level. And I'm just like, why can't we host a gymnastic competition for Carlos Yulo for the Filipino people to see?
Exactly.
Why can't we have a weightlifting competition where the spotlight is Ate Heidelin and her, competitors? And this is something I still want to bring on the personal side of it, because I want to compete at home and I want to showcase what I could do. What is a world-class pole vault, Filipino pole vaulter can do? What can we do in my home country and show it to the Filipino people? That's something I still dream of, and I hope it does come true.
We will make that come true, EJ. Thank you so much for joining us today on Power and Play.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best in your season, and sana mag-usap ulit tayo at the end of the season. Maraming salamat.
Salamat po.
Yan po ang ating interview with EJ Obiena. Well, patuloy tayong mananalangin na sana'y maging successful ang career and of course ang paghahabol ng greatness ng ating pinagmamalaking si Obiena pagdating sa pole vault. Alright. Well, bago po tayo magpatuloy, syempre, kailangan po natin magpasalamat sa lahat ng mga tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. Nahin ko na po, of course, ang Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bagong panahon, mga kapatid, iinit tapos biglang ulan, kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum kapag may aluminum tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom, tibay protektado sa pang matagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Thank you! Cherry Tigo 2 Pro. Love every journey with the reliable, stylish, and budget-friendly crossover SUV. The new 2025 Cherry Tigo 2 Pro, packed with advanced technology at an attainable price. You can drive home a brand new 2025 Tigo 2 Pro manual transmission for just 708,000 pesos, mga kapatid. With a powerful 1.5-liter dual overhead cam engine, choose between a 5-speed manual or 9-speed CVT. Switch to sport mode for more powerful engine response or eco mode for maximum fuel efficiency. Enjoy wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and an HD reverse camera. Plus our outstanding premium Preserve warranty package ensures worry-free ownership. Enjoy exclusive deals on Cherry SUVs made for life's sweetest journeys. Discover the new 2025 Tigo 2 Pro today at your nearest Cherry showroom or visit us on Facebook at Cherry Auto Philippines for more information.
Thank you!
Joyride, ang inyong bagong kasundo. No more waiting na sa Joyride QR Code Instant Booking. Parahin lang ang Joyride MC Taxi Driver at i-generate ang QR Code sa Joyride Super App. Ipaskan ito sa driver para match agad. Download or update to the latest version of the Joyride Super App sa Google Play Store at App Store. At sa Joyride Super Taxi Hatid Airport Service, wala nang hassle sa pagpunta sa airport para sa inyong flight. Pre-book a ride to the airport from 2 weeks to 24 hours prior to your departure. Fill out the pre-booking form or scan the QR code to fill out the pre-booking form. For inquiries, you may call Joyride Super Taxi Hatid Airport Hotline at 0920-948-6550 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday. 717 Deli, serving quality, classic, premium sandwiches. Treat yourself to a feel-good meal today. Located at 3rd floor, 53 Connecticut Street, Green Hills, San Juan. 717 Deli, keep you smiling with every bite.
Thank you!
Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Alabang Town Center and Green Hills, San Juan. For your skin assessment and treatment schedule, please call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886.
Thank
Smart!
you!
Live more today!
Thank you!
Rudy Project Shades. Elevate your performance and style with Rudy Project.
Thank you!
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. Alright, mga kapatid, well, we're in our final portion of the show. And of course, dito po gusto nating magpakilala at ilagay muli sa spotlight ang isang celebrity na ating pong hinahangaan dito po sa In the Spotlight. At ang ilalagay po natin ngayong araw po ito sa In the Spotlight ay isang Muay Thai fighter. Siya po ay miyembro ng Team Bagsik sa One Championship. Undefeated po siya dyan. And she's also the first ever Filipina Muay Thai champion ng ating bansa, a Southeast Asian Games gold medalist, and now trying to win her first professional title. Walang iba po kung hindi ang ating pinagmamalaking si Islay Erica Bumagaw. Kamusta, Islay? Thank you sa pagsama mo dito sa Power and Play. Kamusta ka?
Ayun, mabuti naman po sir. Salamat din po sa pag-invite sa akin dito.
Alam mo, ang laking tuwa namin na makakasama namin ikaw kasi ikaw ang, of course, nabanggit na nga namin, kauna-unahang Muay Thai champion natin. Ikaw rin ang unang homegrown talent na lumalaban sa One Championship, and of course a Southeast Asian Games gold medalist. Kaya napakaraming syempre interesado rin sa career mo. Lalo batang-bata ka pa. Alam mo, pag tinitingnan kita, hindi ko akalaing Muay Thai fighter parang ang dating mo nurse o parang parang social influencer ano bang
surprise.
Surprise Alam mo, ano ba nagsimula sa iyo dito sa Muay Thai? Paano ka na-introduce sa Muay Thai?
Nung high school po ako, dito ko po na-discover yung Muay Thai. Nakita ko lang po kasi yung mga classmate ko, tas yung PE teacher ko po na nagpa-practice dun po sa stage sa school. Tas randomly lang po ako tinawag ng PE teacher ko. Tapos, yun, na-curious po. Sabi ko, sige po. Hanggang sa trinay ko po, nag-training po ako ng less than 2 weeks. Tapos, linaban po ako agad sa provincial meet sa atin.
Wow!
Pero at that time po, wushu po.
Okay.
Very
Ilang taong
similar
ka nun?
naman po siya sa
Ilang
Muay
taong ka
Thai.
nun?
16 years old po.
Wow! So talagang very recent lang din ng pagkakapasok mo dito sa sport na to. Meron kang isang interview na nabanggit mo na yun nga, started out of curiosity, no? Ika nga, no? Parang na-curious ka lang. Pero ngayon, ano na ang Muay Thai para sa'yo? What is it now for you? Anong ibig sabihin ng Muay Thai?
Muay Thai? Ito po
Sa
yung
buhay mo,
ko.
sa buhay mo. Oh.
Muay Thai is my way of life. Hindi lang po siya sport para sa akin. Ito po yung parang, kumbaga, isa po to sa guidelines po sa buhay ko. Hindi lang po siya sport para sa akin. Kasi, sa Muay Thai, meron din po akong mga natututunang mga values na in-integrate ko po sa outside the ring. Parang lifestyle ko na po din yung Muay Thai. Hindi lang po siya sport, pero lifestyle ko po.
Kagaya no, sabi mo, may mga napupulot kang aral. Anong klaseng values o ikang principles ang nakuha mo na sa pagsabak mo sa Muay Thai? Kasi ang nakikita naman ng karamihan ng tao, of course, medyo self-defense, pero it's a very physical sport, lalong-lalo na sa isang kababaihan, no? Anong klaseng mga values ang nakuha mo dito, Islay?
Siyempre, una po yung discipline. Lahat naman po ng sport yan na tututunan po natin yung discipline. Pero yung isa po sa pinakamalaki pong natututunan na value dito is yung self-control. Kasi po syempre when you learn Muay Thai, you know self-defense, alam mong sumuntok, alam mong sumipa, alam mo na pag may nang-asar sa'yo, kayang-kaya mong bubugin. Pero syempre, self-control po. You know that you're strong, but you try to be the bigger person. Yun po.
Yun nga, sabi nila, yun daw kapangyarihan, hindi nagmumula sa kaya mo mambugbog, pero dun sa kaya mong pigilin na mambugbog, no? Alam ba ng mga nanliligaw mo sa yung pambubugbog mo Biro lang. Biro lang. Pero, okay.
Takot mo sila manligaw.
Ayaw manligaw. Aside from Muay Thai, meron ka ba bang ibang sport na nakahiligan nung bago ka pumasok dyan or even after?
Opo, sobrang rami. Actually, nung elementary po ako, competitive swimmer po ako. Sumasali po ako sa mga lower meets. Yung mga lower meets po bago magpalarong pambansa, yung mga provincial meet, karaa. Swimmer po ako dati. Tapos, trinay ko din pong mag-archery since archer po yung sister ko. But, sa Muay Thai, sa martial arts po talaga ako nag-settle.
Oo. Hindi. Ano ba nag-reaction ng pamilya mo? Kasi, alam naman natin, ang layo ng swimming. Ang swimming, it's a very graceful sport. It's also yung non-contact sport. Itong Muay Thai talagang physical, talagang medyo pag na-tsempohan ka dito, pwede kang masaktan. Anong naging reaction ng family mo na nag-shift ka into a very, I guess, a very difficult contact sport?
Well, at first naman po, they were okay with it since I was just training for yung mga lower meets para sa mga high school. Kasi yung mga provincial meet, mga ganun lang. Since yung mga nanay at tatay ko po actually, fans din po sila ng mga shows tulad ng UFC, WWE, yung mga papa ko po. Fan po talaga siya. So, she wasn't so against it naman po. But, as I grew into the sport hanggang sa nag-college ako, nag-elite level ako, dun na po parang medyo naging concerned na po sila sa akin. Lalong-lalo na po nung nag-professional ako. Halos hindi po ako actually payagan ng mama ko because, it's very different from yung amateur na may gears, may headgear. Nung nag-professional po ako, parang grabe po yung pagpigil ng mama ko sa akin.
Talagang pinigilan ka. So in other words, ikaw lang ang nakapag-convince sa mama mo na, hindi, payagan mo na ako, hindi ako mabubugbog. Bubugbugin ko sila, ganun ba yun?
Opo. Pero with the help din naman po ng coaches ko, na-convince ko po yung mom ko na payagan po ako.
When did you realize, sabi mo nga, yung lower meets pa, no? Pero kailan mo na-realize na eto na ang sport para sa'yo? Hindi na swimming, hindi na ibang klaseng sport, or even archery, pero ito na, Muay Thai.
As early as yung first fight ko po ng martial arts, na-mention ko po, parang less than 2 weeks lang po ako nag-training, tas sinalang na po ako agad. Nung first fight ko po, first bout, na panalo po ako. Pero nung semifinals, natalo po ako. And dun ko po na-realize na gusto ko po ulit bumalik sa gym, mag-training. Yun po.
So hindi ka na siraan ng loob. When you lost, lalo ka pang ginanap. Lalo ka pang ginanap.
Opo, super.
Well, of course, nagbunga yung enthusiasm mo para sa Muay Thai. At ikaw nga ay lumaban and you became a Southeast Asian Games gold medalist. Ikaw ang nagranggong number 1 ka pa sa under 45 kilograms ng IFMU. And of course, naging champion ka ng Muay Thai, even winning in Australia. What does that mean for you to be called the first Filipina Muay Thai champion, Islay?
It means so much po sa akin talaga eh. Kasi parang hindi ko lang po pinakilala yung sarili ko sa mundo. Pero parang kineri ko po kasi yung buong Philippine Muay Thai.
Right.
Yung buong Philippine Muay Thai community.
In terms of the actual technique, kailangan ba dito malakas? Kailangan ba dito agile? Kailangan ba mabilis? Anong klaseng atleta ang bagay dito, Islay?
Well, pag physically, yung pinaka-ideal po sa Muay Thai, syempre po yung mga matatangkad, kasi malaki po yung height advantage, matatangkad na magagaan. Pero right now, hindi na po siya masyadong nagiging
advantage.
Standard. Hindi na po siya masyadong nagiging standard if you're looking for athletes to develop. Opo, syempre, nandiyan po yung malakas, maganda po na naturally strong ka. Pero yung masasabi ko po talaga is yung may puso po talaga na atleta. It
Oo.
doesn't matter if you're short or yun, walang bale yung maliit ka or matangkad ka man. Pero yung pinaka-importante po talaga na quality is yung may puso po.
You have trained with some of the great fighters natin sa MMA, including, of course, the great Edward Fulayang and sila Gina Inyong, si Eustachio, etc. etc. From these people, yung mga nakasama mo, nagturo sa iyo, mga naging mentor mo, ano ang pinakamahalagang lesson na nabigay nila sa iyo? Halimbawa, si Edward Fulayang, ano pinakamalaki magandang leksyon na nasabi niya sa iyo?
From Kuya Edward, I would say yung emphasis niya po on resilience.
Resilience.
You know? Siya nga po yung isa sa mga pinaka-role model ko. Nakita ko, personally, na-witness ko po yung training niya sa gym, yung pagka panalo siya, na-witness ko po kung paano siya, na-witness ko din po yung galing sa talo, tas uuwi sa gym, babalik sa gym. Pero, yun nga po, he has resilience po na kahit na ano mang iba to sa kanya, ano mang pangbabash, talo man o panalo, andun pa rin po siya.
Oh, well, and of course, kaya naman tumagal talaga ang kanyang career kahit na, of course, nagkakaedad din siya, marami siyang naturuan at na-inspire na maging katulad niya, no? You are also, of course, a Southeast Asian Games gold medalist, Islay. Can you tell us a little bit about your paano ka nag-training? Ano bang training regimen ng isang Muay Thai fighter? Let's say in one day, anong ginagawa ninyo typically?
So sa national team po, we train twice a day in the morning and then in the afternoon for 6 days a week. Sunday po yun po yung rest day namin. Usually po sa umaga, dito po yung mga strength and conditioning exercises po namin and yung mga strength and conditioning exercises po namin. Hindi lang po siya basta-basta. Of course, tailored din po siya sa sport namin. So, marami po kaming mga reaction drills, mga ganun-ganun po, mga buhat na pwede mong i-incorporate sa Muay Thai. And then sa afternoon naman po, PM session, andun po yung nagtitraining po kami ng Muay Thai specific skills, drills, sparring. Pagkatapos po nun, ayun, rest. Tapos bukas ulit, game ulit, training
Meron
ulit.
kayong weights? May weights ba kayo pag ganun?
Meron po, sir. Meron po.
Meron ba kayong cross-training ng ibang sport? Meron bang ganun?
Yes po. Sa Baguio, kung saan po ako nakabase, nakiki-cross-training po kami sa boxing national team.
Okay.
Opo.
So,
Ang laking tulong po nila actually.
Oo. Okay. Ang ano ba, paano ka nagme-maintain ng iyong timbang? Kasi alam naman natin, napakahalaga yan sa mga sport na katulad na ito na merong weight division. No? How do you maintain your weight? Hindi ka kumakain ng ng matamis na bao, yung mga ganyan.
Parang kinakompensate ko lang po kung hard po yung kinain ko ngayon, mas hard din po yung training. Control din po. And it's not so hard naman po to eat healthy since taga Baguio po ako and very accessible po yung mga vegetables sa amin, mga fiber. Sa bakura namin, may mga plants po kami, may mga vegetables. So, it's not so hard naman po.
At saka syempre, ang training doon, altitude, iba ang hangin, iba rin ang lakas na nakukuha ninyo. The other thing about you, of course, Islay, is that you are a cum laude graduate ng University of Baguio. So, I mean, hindi ka lang bronze o lakas, beauty, andun din yung brains. Kung ikaw, hindi ka naging Muay Thai athlete, sa tingin mo, ano ka? Anong ginagawa mo ngayon? Magiging teacher ka ba? Magiging trainer ka ba? Anong sa tingin mo career mo ngayon, Islay?
Kung hindi po ako pumasok sa Muay Thai, probably dentist po ako ngayon or
Wow, talaga?
dental student. Opo. Yun po talaga yung dream ko. Or veterinarian po.
Veterinarian. O hindi, meron ka ba bang pangarap na ituloy yun or i-pursue yung mga dreams mong yan?
Sa ngayon, di ko na po pinaplano na i-pursue yung pagiging dentist or veterinarian. But I'm kind of contemplating on taking up law po.
Wow! Very nice.
Yes.
Talagang merong ambisyon and that's good kasi alam naman natin na pagiging atleta hindi yan pang habang buhay, no? At
Yes, that's true po.
kailangan may sasandalan ka rin. All right, well, let's go to your pro career now, Islay. You are undefeated sa one championship, 2-0. At
Yes.
Ikaw ay patuloy na making names. Of course, you have a reputation to keep dahil SEA Games gold medalist ka. And also because of the fact that you are the first homegrown Filipino na talagang lumalaban sa isang pro level na katulad ng one championship. What is your goal right now as a pro given a 2-0 on record mo sa kasalukuyan?
Of course, I plan on keeping the streak going. And if one championship decides to officially open a minimum weight division for smaller athletes like me, I would definitely go for the belt po.
Wow. Well, in that sense, ano ang plans ninyo ng iyong team Bagsik moving forward para sa iyo? Meron na bang mga laban na nakalinya para sa iyo this year?
Yes po. Tentative pa lang naman po, but this coming March, I might have another fight po.
Wow.
In one championship. But other than that, meron naman din po akong naka-line up po kaming mga amateur fights po. Like the World Championships and Asian Championships these coming months.
Saan gagawin yung one championship tentatively? Alam mo na ba kung saan
Sa Thailand po ulit, sir.
Sa Bangkok, Thailand ulit. Wow. So ang ibig mo sabihin is like, pwede kang lumaban ng pro sa one championship, pwede ka rin pa rin lumaban sa amateur, katulad ng Southeast Asian Games?
Yes po, sir. Actually, yung ibang mga countries po tulad ng mga, lalong-lalo na po yung Thailand, yung mga national athletes po nila, professional athletes po talaga yung mga yun. Since mga 5 years old, lumalaban na po. Kaya kung napansin niyo po sa mga Thai athletes, pag lumaban po sila sa amateur, parang wala lang po sa kanila kasi sanay na po sila sa pro. And that's a very big advantage po sa kanila. Yung mga ibang Southeast Asian countries din po tulad ng Vietnam, Malaysia, professional din po yung mga athletes nila. Actually, ngayon lang po ngayon lang po na may pinapayagan na po yung, hindi naman sa pinapayagan, pero ngayon po, mas nabibigyan na kami po ng opportunity para lumaban po ng professional.
Well, ikaw ba, nakikita mo yung sarili mo na ganyan talaga, amateur, pro, or after a certain time, magko-concentrate ka na lang sa one championship at tapos ka na dito sa career mo as an amateur? Dahil meron tayong laban ng Southeast Asian Games this year, no? So, kung merong Muay Thai, obviously, you will be part of the team, di ba, Islay?
Of course, first love ko pa rin po yung amateur Muay Thai. And as long as I can, I would still love to be a part of the national team and represent our country sa mga amateur level amateur competitions tulad ng SEA Games, World Championships. Gusto ko pa rin po. Para sa akin, yun pa rin po yung priority ko po for now, yung amateur Muay Thai po.
Okay.
Dito po ako nagsimula eh.
As a parting shot, Islay, you have brought so much honor already sa ating bansa at your very young age. Ano ang masasabi mo na, maaaring ibahagi mo sa mga kabataan? Ang mensahe mo na kung gusto nilang subukan ang Muay Thai, na natatakot sila because right away, pag sinabing Muay Thai, baka masaktan. Ano ang message mo sa mga kabataan na nai-inspire sa iyo?
sa mga kabataan. Ang Muay Thai, hindi siya violent na sport like social media portrays. It's actually a very beautiful sport. Hindi siya violence. Dito marami kayong matututunan tulad ng, yes, of course, self-defense, pero ang daming values na pwede mong mapulot. And once you try Muay Thai and you love it, it's actually really life-changing. And with Muay Thai, marami ka din matutulungan, especially kung gusto nyo ding pumasok sa national team. Hindi nyo lang matutulungan yung sarili nyo, matutulungan nyo din yung parents nyo. Kasi ang daming opportunities sa Muay Thai. You can get scholarships from your schools. And if you wish, you could also represent the country in the future. Yung mga ganun po. Yun po. If you want to train Muay Thai, go for it. No?
That's of course. Siyempre, and of course, with you as an inspiration to many of the young people, I'm sure maraming magsusubok at susundan ng iyong mga yapak. Islay, thank you so much for joining us in Power and Play. Susundan namin ang iyong career and we wish you all the best sa susunod mong laban.
Maraming salamat din po, Sir Nolly and staff.
Yan po si Islay, Erica Bumagao, and sana po maging inspirasyon siya sa lahat ng mga kababaihan at kabataang gustong sumama sa Muay Thai. Alright, bago po tayo magtapos, syempre gusto nating i-announce lahat po ng nanalo sa top-up promo ng Joyride Super App. Sila Marley Ramos, JB Manalo, Jandra Silvano, Jose Rafael Ner, at si Mariel Ann Pinheiro. Congratulations sa inyo lahat for winning 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits mula sa Joyride Super App. And that will do it for us ngayong pong Sabadong ito. Next week, magsama-sama po muli tayo. Kasama na natin ang ating partner na si Jera Season. Sa kalan po ni Jera at sa lahat po sa amin dito, marami po salamat at lagi po natin sinasabi tuwing Sabado, bawal ang masungit at sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei Gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH Teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. Susunod na po ang inay ko po. Happy Sports Weekend mga kapatid! More power! More play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko. Para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at huwag magpatalo. Ipagdiwang natin ng Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulot, sumbe, sibay, lakay, paniga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing natin katropa. Sa kapwa ko Pilipino.
Power and Play is presented by Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Cherry Tigo, there's more to our cars. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo.